Wayo Engineering. Justice, please help me welcome Justice. Sylvanesh Kuma, we all know Interplus, please help me welcome him. And then our panel is, I think, gender biased, but the only lady amongst the panel this afternoon is Abina Ofebia Buahini, Chief Executive Officer, Chinsa Enterprise. Oh, please help me acknowledge her well. Thank you very much. When we ask you to acknowledge, please do that well for me. We are streaming live on Metro TV, and so our discussions are not limited to the room here, only at the conference center, but we are national everywhere because we are live on Metro TV. So I would welcome you, gentlemen, and we would go straight to the discussions for the afternoon. I'd like to begin with people in the media space. So, Doc, I'm sure that I'll begin with you for the afternoon. The discussion always has been about local content participation, how we get people, businesses, even from the employment, HR point of view. We begin to look at how the big mining entities, medium-scale mining entities, small-scale mining entities get local people employed. I think we have advanced. The other things are how we get manufacturers, how we get the services sector, how we get everybody else involved in the process, in the manufacturing process, in the production process of the extractive sector. How far do you think we have come in this line, particularly in the manufacturing? We have a lot of artisans in the country. You would hear, we were just talking about the Youth Employment Agency. You would hear them training young people in dressmaking, in welding, in fabrication, and so on and so forth. How far have we advanced as a country?
Right. Thank you very much. I think we all recognize the fact that for a country to optimize value and its benefits from natural resource extraction, it's important that that country and its people do not play the role of spectators in the extraction of the resource, because the multinationals will always repatriate their profit. What is retained in the economy is the contribution of the locals to the extraction of the resource. And so it's always important that in designing policies in the sector, you create opportunities for indigenous people to be able to play a role. Local content has always two dimensions. There's the indigenization dimension, which looks at the personnel, the human resource contribution to the extraction, but there's also the goods and services. And sometimes it looks like we do not appreciate very well the intent of local content. Local content is not just to get locals to supply to the industry. Local content is to create job opportunities, because when a mine comes to a district or a town, everybody in that town or the district would want to work in the mine. But we know the mine cannot employ everybody. So strategically, you want to position yourself to be able to produce some of the mine inputs, what the mine may require to be able to function. It can even be agricultural produce. And this is what creates jobs for people who do not get opportunities to be employed directly by the mine. Somehow, if you look at the practice and the trends in Ghana, local content has come to mean buying and selling to the mine. So most of the time, Ghanaian businessmen will take a contract and head to China in search of goods and services to supply to the mine. This adds to the cost of the mine, and it shifts job away from Ghana to those places where we source these goods. Sometimes it comes to me as a big surprise that as a country, we had an ambitious industrialization program, one district, one factory, but which was in no way aligned with the local content opportunities in the mining sector, to the extent that we've not been able to build the manufacturing capability to be able to supply to the industry. And I think Kumar, your Interplus has done so well.
Yes.
And it's not surprising that consistently they've been winning the local manufacturing component of the mining industry awards. Most of our people are only supplying and not producing and not manufacturing. So they are not creating jobs. But if we were to get small enterprises processing something as basic as activated carbon, and we all know
Here in Ghana, and not sourcing from outside.
Exactly. And all over the world, the best raw material for activated carbon is coconut shell, palm kernel shell. And we have them here in abundance.
But the problem and the challenge is, do we as a country have a direction in this line where we set up specific policies that suppliers to the large corporate entities in the mining sector, we are supporting you to get to the, we were just, and I'll be asking Clifford on that, the capacity to get to the level where you can be able to produce for Anglo Gold. We just think that it can be done, so we leave the local people to get involved, and they end up going to China and Turkey.
You see, we haven't been deliberate.
Exactly, the point.
Okay?
Yes.
And there is a clear misalignment between trade and industry policy and mining policy. So trade and industry policy is going in one direction, and mining policy is going the other direction. So, and that is how come you have a one district, one factory project, which did not identify clear opportunities for manufacturing that could take advantage of the local content list. We keep increasing the list, and I keep asking the Minerals Commission, to what extent are we able to seize these opportunities to develop our manufacturing capability? Zero. And it's also because the Trade and Industry Minister does not talk to the Natural Resource or Lands and Natural Minister to align, okay, their policies. And this is a big challenge for this country.
Let me jump to you, Clifford. Clifford is from Anglo Gold, and of course in charge of the supply chain. So this is very much connected to you. Do you have, first of all, specific areas that has the potential to bring everybody locally on board? And do you experience the challenge we are talking about?
Thank you, Kwesi. But let me first, before I address the question,
Right.
take it from a certain perspective. You are all aware that sometime in 2014, Anglo Gold Ashanti, Obuasi Mine, went under care and maintenance. Okay. So the mine came back in 2019 when we had our first blast. Between 2014 and 2019, and probably 2020 before the COVID, Obuasi descended into a ghost town status. Anybody who ever visited Obuasi would have seen you could drive 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers within the town, not in the outskirts of the town, and you wouldn't meet one vehicle. That's a fact. So when the mine came back, we had a very clarity in mind that we needed to do something deliberately as an internal company policy, okay, in terms of economic inclusivity in our business operation through our procurement spend and through our employee recruitment processes. So that was a deliberate policy. The first thing we did in consultation with the Minerals Commission was the joint venture arrangement that AUMS went into with Rockshore to form UMA, where the company set a threshold, a minimum threshold of 30% equity participation. And this was consummated. This model worked so well that we did not stop there, but all our high-risk, high-value contracts, laboratory services, drilling, water treatment services, we ensure, with note one thing, we did not impose any company, local company, on these foreign companies. We told them, you must find a local partner and bring them to work. So Veolia, who was our water treatment specialist, brought in a local partner. SGS brought in a local partner. And then we rolled this across other contracts and services. Okay, and Dr. Steve Mantiao mentioned that the objective was to create more jobs because the company itself could not employ everybody. All right. Now, we also did realize that the low-risk, low-value contracts, okay, we could let it out to local companies. But these companies did not even have the capacity to do anything. So one of the things we did in 2019 was to set up the Enterprise Development Center, where through our sustainability department, identified 100 companies within the Obuasi community and then the surroundings.
To work with?
No, to train them, develop their capacity, build their capacity.
100 already existing companies
100
who can supply.
existing
So you did the
companies
training for them.
Who could supply or who could perform services. When we talk about procurement, we talk about goods,
the goods and
supply,
services.
and then services. Okay. So we did that, and we collaborated with Empretech and Invest in Africa to come on board and did that. So based on that strategy, we built a core of suppliers and contractors who were ready to do business with the company, and in the process also employ other people within the community, particularly those that are impacted directly from our operations. So that has been the trajectory. And I can tell you that for the local, when we talk about local, we're talking about local Obuasi contractors and local,
the mining enclave.
Mining enclave. I don't want to use the word enclave. If you talk about enclave, it means there's no integration. And that has been the thinking for years.
Yes.
And that is what has been the bane of mining in Ghana. So let's forget about the enclave. It's no longer an enclave activity. It should be integrated into the nationwide economy and industrialization process that we're talking about. We will get there. Okay. So that led to the formation of a local contractors association. And I believe my very good friend, Mark Partner, sitting over there, is a member of the local contractors association. Because they've been recognized by the municipal authority. Before you can do business with the mine, you must be a member. Okay. And they are a key stakeholder and an interested party in supporting our business and in supporting the general economic development of Obuasi. So that has been the trajectory.
Right.
Through that process, we have been able to build the capacity of some entities to be able to manufacture uniforms, undertake...
Chinsa, you do uniforms. I'll come to you on that.
and undertake fabrication services for us, and undertake a number of services. In my contract register, I have about 226 contractors.
Locally?
Local, national. Only 4 of them are foreign contractors in my contract register. And if there was time, I could open my phone and show you.
We'll come back to you.
Okay.
Okay, you land on that then.
So to just conclude on that, is to let you know that without prompting from any government, Minerals Commission, government agency for that matter, the mining companies themselves, and here I'm talking for Anglo Gold Ashanti, this is what we've done. The amount of money we spent on local contractors since 2022 up to 2024, I'm not even including 2025 figures, is $106 million US. This has contributed in the transformation of Obuasi from a virtual ghost town into a vibrant township that, in other words, Obuasi has taken back its beautiful clothes. Where you couldn't meet a vehicle within 1 or 2 kilometers, today there's huge traffic.
It's become a business district again,
Absolutely.
like it was before.
That's
So, Kuma, I would say you are largely successful. I don't know if I should call you a small company, and then I'm not allowed to use the word entry, but you are largely successful. Do you see a deliberate action or policy in the attitude of government, even though he said so much, 106 million invested in, let me say, the Ghanaian community? Do you see that?
No, that is
local, not even the local national, as you call it, but for within the, right.
We have,
please use the mic because we are live on air, so that they can,
all right,
okay.
sorry. So we have categorized our local strategies into local, that is Obuasi and the surrounding communities, our dancing community, if I may allow to say that. And then local national, where Mr. Kuma Enterprise, they come in. And then we have local multinationals. These are foreign companies that have a registered presence in Ghana.
They have offices here.
They have offices either in Accra or Kumasi or Obuasi for that matter. And then we have foreign companies. Okay.
Right.
So when we talk about local, we have those three.
Yes.
Local, national, local multinationals.
All right.
And we are able to show how our procurement spend and investments are distributed among these three categories.
Okay, so I will come back to you now, Kuma, on the question I was asking. Do you see a deliberate action on the part of the large mining companies, not Anglo Gold alone, and government also?
Thanks, Kwesi. This journey, as Mr. Clifford said, it started almost getting to 2 decades now, emphasizing on the local content. If we still generalize it as local content, both the government and the mines has done an excellent job. When I say this, just to give some indication, like 87% of the local, the spending was on, from the mines was on the local content. But now what we are discussing is, see, we are happy with that 87%. Within that one, what is locally manufactured is 25%. I think that's what Doctor was talking about.
Yes.
How do we move this 25% to 30 or the 50% so that the more the value addition, more money stays in the country, more jobs are made in. I want to pick from what Mr. Clifford said. Obuasi mine, when it was active, the city is very vibrant. When the mine was down, it became a ghost town. So that means if we don't mine, then we're not leaving anything behind. We are already 100 years into mining. What are we leaving behind after the gold is exhausted? That's the question we should ask now. What is that as a government trying to do? You know, government has done an excellent job through Minerals Commission pushing all the mining companies, you know, but if we start pushing too much on them, then it becomes very unviable for them to mine in Ghana. They'll start moving out. We work in the whole West African region. I can tell you confidently the mining is booming in the rest of the other countries, you know, talking about Ivory Coast or Burkina Faso, other places, because the incentives are more. The cost of mining is much lesser than that.
Than in Ghana?
Than in Ghana. It's a fact. And the number of mines coming up in Abidjan is much bigger than what we are. Currently, we are talking about existing mines in Ghana. We don't talk about many new mines coming here. It's a deterrent. It's a deterrent. Right. So when they say, I'm not trying to advocate that, okay, don't push the mines. No, that's not what mines gives you a base to build up an industrialization. So let's use that one. Let the government come in. Yesterday, I heard President talking about special, what did he say, on the importation of machineries for agri. He said he's going to create an environment where machineries are coming in without duties. Okay, help the industry focus on the support services for the mine. Create an environment where people can come in and then set up the factories. How can we help the local communities? I always been talking about special economic zones, you know, supporting closer to the mines, which is focusing on the mines. This will help reduce their taxes, the company, as an incentive, give them for 5 years for them to go and do it. Then gradually, we will reach a point that if the mine exists, it doesn't exist. That is something we are leaving behind, which can survive on its own. I think this is where we should be heading to.
Yes, that's very key for me. But let me ask you, Justice, as well. You are a producer locally, manufacturer locally, and do you see that deliberate action we are talking about? I mean, from the two sides. From when Clifford was talking, you were nodding your head. So I presume you were in agreement with most of the things that he was saying. They should be factual anyway. When we go to them, we should find the data. But are you feeling it at all?
I'll say yes and no. To a large extent, we are feeling the impact of the opportunities that is being thrown at the local, and the local national. Mm-hmm. I am coming from the perspective of a local national. And so we have the procurement list that we have access to from the Minerals Commission. We also have invitations from the companies, the consumers. When they have an opportunity, we are invited to tender. And I think they do that on a fair ground. So your systems, your capacity determines whether you win the contract or not. And that is done fairly. Mm. What we can get or what we can push for, and I know probably my partners may also be having similar challenges, is that unless AngloGold decides to tell me exactly what opportunity they have, there's no way I can know that.
Oh, you mean there is no information on what's available?
Unless they deliberately decide that we are inviting you to tender for this particular scope. So,
but within the year, sorry to cut you, within the year, there is no way you can be able to tell. Discussing local content participation in the mining industry with a particular focus on manufacturing. Clifford explains to us local, national, local, international, local, multinational, and how we can be able to, as a country, get more of our people and our businesses involved. The growth of small and medium-scale enterprises, the growth of startups, and so on and so forth, to create more jobs. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
So my name is Raman Brahma. I am a financial analyst at Pangaea. Our job is virtually to assist SMEs with loans so that they are able to meet this local content bill. My question is simple. Having listened to most of the issues that has been raised, I'm looking at the sustainability of this local content thing. Because if you look at the capital issues involved with SMEs entering this market, how is it going to be sustainable? Because if, for example, the SME within a certain time paying 10,000 and at a certain point in time, he or she doesn't have, contracts, then maybe as a financial advisor, you have been able to source some debt for him to grow. How is he going to pay back? I'm looking at the sustainability aspect of it, because for you to be able to assess, help these people grow there, you have to understand that it's going to be sustainable. What are the mining firms doing, having realized some of these challenges, to help this sustainability thing go the long haul? Otherwise, we might be here in the next 4 years, then we'll be speaking about how our sustainability efforts has gone low. How are we able to sustain this thing, the local content? That's mostly my question.
Right, thank you very much. So his point, I'm sure any of you can pick it up, on how we are able to sustain local content. Please come in here.
So my name is Edmond Odro. I work with AngloGold Ashanti as a sustainability HOD. I'm interested in sustainability.
Okay, so you work with AngloGold.
I'm interested in what Dr. Mathias said. Now, the mining industry, we know that most of us are Ghanaians, and that wasn't the case in the past. We had expatriates taking over most of the roles. Now we have Ghanaians taking over, and that was because there was a deliberate approach to making sure that we get Ghanaians to occupy the roles. We can be successful in that way if we have a deliberate approach, as Clifford rightly said. if there is no clear-cut strategy, people will do it ad hoc, and it will be based on what the person thinks it is right, but that might not really impact the generations to come. And our true measure of impact will be the number of people that we have actually been impacted as a result of our activity. So I think as a country, we need to have a deliberate approach where we support the local companies to be able to, because we know what we are procuring from outside, we know what the mining companies need. Why can't we come together and establish those businesses, supply to the mining companies, and get more people to get jobs? So I think that is the angle that I want to recommend. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, yes.
My name is Engineer Eric Bruni, Anglo Dashanti Obuasi Mine, the Senior Manager, Engineering. I think with the local content, we must first of all break the barrier. If we are not reducing it, we should take it off. We should go to China and ask them how they did it. Some people have done it before. Why are we, in fact, copy and paste is the easiest thing you can do.
Yeah, that I agree.
So, do it. Take it out. And when the industry is booming, that point, you can bring this barrier. But at the time that you want a lot to come into it, and you want potential to come out, take those barriers out. Because we become our own enemies. When you come to the mines, I can count about 10,000 standards for engineering alone. 10,000 standards, which I deal with. Before we submit a contract, you must provide those standards. I'm not talking about procedures. This is standards. Yes.
That you need to meet.
Yes. So you have these standards. The industry players are there. What are we looking for again? We are talking about international standards. So we want to build a standard for the country. The international standards are already there. That's why I said copy and paste. So AGA being international company, we depend on that. So either the regulator has it or not, we depend on that. And I must say that they are humble enough, and I'm talking about Mineral Commission, they are humble enough to work with us because they know that some of them they don't have. And even at a point, we wanted to train some of them. And it is not far from fetch. So we're saying that whatever you lack, others have, just open it up. And if we are talking about local content where you need money from other people, this is another way that you can consider as your social responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so yes, we have one.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Seth Kui. I work with a company called Mark Partners. Proud to say we are local manufacturers today without any help. But I think
without any support.
Any support, yes.
From the government.
At all.
And you are still paying the 10,000.
Yeah, we are doing that, yes. I think he hammered a point that I was going to make my first point, that we talk about standards. I mean, we're going to meet international, take the international standards, then localize it, and then he meets the standard.
You can speak to the camera. So
yesterday, in the session that I was, standards boss was there, and I explained to them, we started some manufacturing, we want to create standards for it. They've shared a bill, we have to pay parts, and they pay parts to create a standard. And I said, the product I'm doing already has standards from somewhere. Why don't we just take it and go? Why should I? Oh, we have to form a committee to look at it and to do that. It is already international standards. You must just endorse it and let's move on.
So the copy and paste.
Yeah, so that's gone. To go back to the cost of doing business thing. I mean, I think in a previous session I explained, I have personally discussed with Mincom several times. I mean, rather than charge us $10,000, take 1% of our invoicing from the mine. So it is proportional to every contractor. If I do 20 million business, you get 1%. It's more than 10,000. If he does 10,000 business, you get $100. It's fine. At the end of the day, you good. As we grow, everybody pays more. I think the Minerals Commission guy who was here took it. Now, I think what we have talked about is all nice, but I think what is lacking is a bridge. I like to say that the mining companies provide demand for the products we want to supply. Then we, the suppliers, are the supply side. and now we want to localize and manufacture. What is lacking is a policy that ties those two together, demand and supply, and say what criteria must they meet, how much should it cost them to do that. But for somebody to spend $2 million set up a factory, and now he has to go and pay $100,000 for standardization, $10,000, and he hasn't sold even a piece yet. That's a challenge. And I think Dr. Mantia said is that there is no intentionality about developing. In the mine industry, local content is 12 years old. In the oil industry, probably 14 years old. We keep saying the same thing. This morning, I said that we have matured beyond local content. The country is ours, the resources are ours. We should be regulating foreign participation and knowledge transfer. Make laws to encourage foreign partners to come partner with us, do the things that they are already doing with standards, and grow the business. So either we insert it or we turn the law around, call it foreign participation and knowledge skills transfer. So we own the resources. The other way, it sounds as if we are begging to be helped. But it should be that we have something and they also have something that we need. Then we bring them in. That way, standards will come automatically because they have it already. If they don't bring all the money, you bring half, they bring half. They take their percentage profit away, part profit stay here. But the way it is today, some people are fronting for foreign companies in the name of local content. How do you avoid that? So,
the economy.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. We should rather regulate how they come in, make sure they can take their profit back, but they bring technology, they grow our capacity, and we all grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I mean, we are having some very good conversations, but I'm not seeing the regulators yet. I mean, it's not fair. We are making certain points that I know some of them are not absolute. They are not right, but they are not here to defend themselves. So I would suggest that in future, at least we should have a representation from the Minerals Commission as part of the panel. Okay. The other point I wanted to make was about the $10,000 number that we are mentioning. It is true. I've had instances where some suppliers have come. We've said that you don't have the registration, so you are not even going to participate in the bid. They go to a regulator, they write back to us that, no, that's not correct. I heard a comment that if they don't register, you cannot participate in bids. That is definitely not correct. So the regulator is saying that allow them in. But if they get to a point where they are closer to getting a contract, we want them to register. So that was the feedback we had. The second point is also the categories. I know, from the Minerals Commission. It came from the CEO. The second point is also to do with the 10,000 categories. I know some of the local companies, especially in Newmont at the time, half of mine, they wrote to the regulator. So they were now tying their fee to the turnover for the year. So some are not paying 10,000. They pay little amounts. You can cross-check. So they are doing a lot of work. Yeah, they are doing a lot of work. Maybe it's not being shared publicly, but it's important we engage them here as we are having this discussion so that it will not be one-sided. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. There was the issue of sustainability. Any of you can pick it up, but I'm still picking your final submissions in this round. Let me start with you, Abina, on your final submission and what is the way forward for us as a country. Then I'll come to Justice Kuma, and then I'll come to the two other people.
Okay. What?
Well, you can have my mic. Okay.
What I would say in conclusion is we the local manufacturers, we would say we'll plead with the companies that we work for to give us the opportunity to also let you know what we can do, our skills and capabilities when it comes to production. And also, when they give us the opportunity, we are also able to create jobs, give the youth the opportunity to get skills that they might not even know that they have. They'll be able to learn new skills and technologies when it comes to my field, which is the sewing industry. Yes.
Right, thank you very much. Justice, so in 1 minute, please, let's have your final words.
Yes, so I think on the sustainability part, I think our brother here probably gave the best answer I can also give. Just to make sure you copy and paste the you have from other countries. South Africa, I know, has developed very well. They've set up standard for South Africa. So even if you are an international body and you come to South Africa and you are producing in South Africa, you should comply with the South African standard. They have it. And so they have been able to copy some of these things. They've tried to localize it and they formalize it. So that is it.
All right.
My last words would be, as local companies, I have seen the efforts from where I'm coming from. We are putting in to match up to the standard required or the specification required by the consumer. So we are doing our bit. We don't want to be complacent and we don't want to be content. What we have to do is to continue learning, developing our skills, and if it needs bringing expatriates in
to
train us so that we can match up to the capabilities that the consumer need. We have to invest in that and be able to have that knowledge transferred to us.
Very well. Very well. Kuma, let me have you, and then I'll come to the consumer.
Yes, my final words. I would suggest it shouldn't be just the industry and the private players or the manufacturers. The government should also come in. There should be a focus into developing industries. From the mining side, we can look at tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, because not everything, as Mr. Clifford said, not everything we can manufacture, but the tier 2, tier 3, we can do it over here. Tier 3, when we say that, okay, in 1 or 2 years I can do it. Tier 2, 5 years down the line. Tier 1, maybe we will not. Or there could be some products which is not just for the mining, it can help the rest of the industries. Those could be on the third category. That means I establish it, mines benefit, then rest of us also benefit. Like pipes, it's not exclusive for the mines. I can say there's one product, corrugated pipes, we brought in because of mines. Today, it's for everybody. Otherwise, I might not have gone and invested that money and brought the product into the country. So government should come in to help to set this up. I've been advocating and say that special economic zone is important, encourage joint ventures, give benefits for those companies who are coming in, give duty-free for the machineries to come in. All this one will encourage and create more employment. Let's use mines to develop the rest of the industries, so when we don't mine, there is a residual benefit left behind. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. So, Clifford, your final words and how we can move the local manufacturing. Maybe you can include the services as well.
Address the sustainability issues.
Yes, of course, from him.
The process of obtaining a mine support service certificate has 2 steps. First, you must register with the Minerals Commission. That is an expression of interest to do business in the industry. Okay. Now, when we are doing a tender, we do not insist that you must have a mine support service certificate. In other words, you should not have prepaid $10,000 before you participate in a tender. It is when you win and then you are being onboarded, that is a requirement. But to be able to expedite that, you should have pre-registered to work in the industry. Okay, we have an administrative agreement with Mincom that if someone wins a tender before they award the contract, they just show you the receipt that they have paid, and then they can proceed to be awarded a tender while they go along to process the mine support services certificate. But people have mentioned certain constraints which needs to be addressed. If you procure a mine support service certificate on 30th December, 31st December, you have only 1 day. After that, it's expired. Okay. Finally, I would want to address this, particularly for those who are living in the mining enclave of Boase, Takwa, and those guys. Sometime in 2016, 2017, we engaged Mincom and then told them that the fee is too high for the local supply. So Mincom gave us a dispensation. So that dispensation makes the fee far, far lower and cheaper than when you are a nationally registered company.
Right. Doc.
Where is that information?
Oh, I have the letter and I share it around.
It's not about the letter. It's for somebody who is a local applying. He goes to the website. Would he see on the website that he can be given some discount because it's local?
Okay,
or it's just a one-to-one arrangement?
I think Mincom has to do that.
Yes, well, I agree. So, Doc, in 1 minute, you can round up for the entire show for us, and we go off.
Yeah, the thing about sustainability is something I think we need to take into account. First, we need to remove all barriers to local participation and even move beyond that to provide support, incentives. Government should be able to facilitate access to concessionary credit for those who are given opportunity to supply to the mines. First point. Indigenization. I heard about now the industry being dominated by Ghanaians. Of course, we have Ghanaians. Anglo Gold managing director is a Ghanaian, like Newmont, all the rest. But do they really have the power to make decisions that their predecessors, the white folks, had to make? Or they are just decorative heads? Okay? So there's an issue there. And so sometimes when we make certain demands in terms of local content and indigenization, it should be proper indigenization. The Ghanaian director should have the same power that the white director had when he was a Ghanaian, he was the director for the Ghana mine. That is not the case now. And so most of the decisions have to be referred back to the home country. I have a problem with this exclusivity thing. Mining, small-scale mining can only be done by Ghanaians. Local content, only Ghanaians. We were in Nigeria, Tanzania, about 2 years ago, on a fact-finding mission supported by the World Bank. And we realized that in Tanzania, you are a local person, you want to mine, they will tell you, go and look for a foreign partner. And most of the time, it's a Chinese. So you bring the Chinese, and you go into an agreement, supervised by the regulatory authority. And then you do a joint venture. And there are requirements for technology and knowledge transfer. The contract elapses after 5 years. And the sharing arrangement is structured that the Chinese will be able to recover his costs and make some margin or profit. And then everything reverts to a local. If the Chinese wants to remain in the industry, he goes to look for a local. This time the Chinese is going to look for a local and go into another agreement, okay, with a profit sharing arrangement that also allows for technological transfer and knowledge transfer. And so we need to be mindful, because the current situation where we reserve everything for the typical Ghanaian who has not got the capital leads to front end.
And even the expertise.
Exactly. No capital, no expertise, nothing. Right. So he only fronts for foreigners, and all the benefits are repatriated and we get nothing. It happens also in the fisheries industry. We need to be very mindful of that. Let's craft it in a way that allows for those with the capital and the technology to support the Ghanaian to acquire it before restricting it only to Ghanaians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and of course all the people gathered in here. And if you are watching us from wherever you are, this is WAMPEX 2025, one of the many panel discussions that have been going on. This one was particularly focused on local content participation in manufacturing, how we can rope up the startups, the SMEs, and the local manufacturers who are suppliers to the large corporate entities to be able to come up. I had, for the discussion, Abna Ofebia Buahine, who is the Chief Executive Officer, Chinsa Enterprise. Sivanesh Kumar is from Interplast. Justice Alote is HSEKO Manager at YO Engineering. And Clifford Edu Baini is Supply Chain Manager, Anglo Gold Ashanti. Dr. Steve Manteao, Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. My name is Kwesi Afriye, of course, from Metro TV. Thank you all very much for staying with us from wherever you're watching us from. And then thank you to my panel. Thank you, audience. Thank you very much, everybody. Good afternoon.
His Excellency, the former President of the Republic of Ghana, John Agyekum Kufuor. His Excellency, Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa, let me thank you for the brilliant presentation you just gave us. Ministers of State present here, our international partners who have traveled from far to join us at this summit, chief executives and champions of the mining industry, our members of the diplomatic corps, our friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's my singular honor to welcome you all to Ghana and to this landmark gathering, the Mining in Motion Summit 2025. We're gathered here today not merely to talk about minerals, but to reimagine the future of mining in Africa. And so permit me first to express my heartfelt gratitude to Otumfuo Osei Tutu II for his inspiring vision and leadership in convening this summit. Nana, we thank you very much. Your unwavering commitment to Ghana's development and environmental sustainability is admirable. Let me also thank Oheniba Kwekudua and the Ashanti Green Initiative team for delivering on this vision, and also the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources for its strategic collaboration. Africa is rich in gold, bauxite, lithium, manganese, cobalt, and other rare earth minerals. Our continent is said to hold about 91% of global platinum reserves. We hold about 79% of phosphate rock. Over half of the cobalt and manganese in the world is found in Africa. Vast untapped deposits of lithium and graphite. And yet we remain among the poorest continents globally. Ghana, as the leading gold producer in Africa, reflects both the opportunities and the contradictions in this sector. Mining contributes substantially to our GDP, to our foreign exchange and employment. But I must say it has not transformed the lives of our citizens as it should. And so we must ask ourselves the hard question: why does the wealth beneath our feet not translate into prosperity above ground? A major reason is our extractive structure. We export raw materials, raw minerals, and we import finished product. But the real value, which is jobs, technology, and revenue, is captured elsewhere. My administration is committed to moving beyond extraction to transformation. And this means that we'll be investing in the downstream industry of the mineral value chain, refining our gold and developing our jewelry industry, processing our bauxite into alumina and aluminum, converting lithium into battery components for export, and using iron ore to feed a steel industry. We must integrate mining into the broader economic framework, linking it to our manufacturing, energy, logistics, and research. That is how we build resilient and diversified economies. In the past, huge concessions were carved out for foreign mining interests. State mining assets were sold to foreign companies because we lacked the capital, the technology, and the human resources to fully exploit the natural resources that nature so bountifully blessed us with. But that situation has changed now. It is possible to raise capital. Technology is available. And Ghana has a huge human resource with expertise in every aspect of the extractive industry. We therefore believe that there should be increased participation and investments from Ghanaians in exploiting our mineral wealth. We welcome foreign investors to partner with us in our extractive industry. We want a partnership of mutual benefit. And we commend the relationship we currently enjoy with our partners such as Goldfields, AngloGold, Cardinal Namdini, Newmont, and all the others. We'll soon codify our thoughts concerning increased Ghanaian participation using vehicles like our stock exchange and other instruments to increase participation of the Ghanaian private sector in our natural resource exploitation. As the world becomes more transactional in relations between countries, it becomes even more critical for us to use our natural resource endowment to create prosperity for our people. Another pillar of reform is inclusive mining. Over 1 million people in Ghana depend on artisanal and small-scale mining for sustenance. However, this sector has often been informal, conflict-prone, and environmentally damaging. We're therefore taking bold steps to formalize the small-scale mining sector through initiatives such as the Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program, the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project. And as the Minister said, there are various initiatives underway. These initiatives aim to provide legal access to land, training, equipment, and shared infrastructure. We also will eliminate the use of mercury and supporting environmentally safe alternatives for mining. Let me be clear at this juncture. Artisanal miners are not enemies of the state. If properly trained and supported, they can be allies in our development. Working together with the small-scale mining sector, we will reclaim our forest reserves and restore the purity of our water bodies. Our river guards are working on clearing mining activities in our water bodies and on the banks of our rivers. We've successfully, as the Minister told you, we have successfully cleared illegal miners out of 8 out of the 9 no-go zone forest reserves. We will track excavators, as the Minister said, in order to know whether they are being used for illegal mining or not. And we intend to change the permitting regime. Ghana has more excavators in this country than in the whole of Africa. We're going to change the permitting regime. You will not be allowed to import an excavator or put it on a ship unless you get a permit before you can ship an excavator. Mining cannot be sustainable unless it's also responsible. Environmental degradation, water pollution, and community displacement are not inevitable byproducts of mining. They are the consequences of poor governance and enforcement. We're strengthening environmental, social, and governance frameworks across the mining sector. And this will include, like I said, banning toxic chemicals in gold processing like mercury, mandating site rehabilitation. And so it means that small-scale miners and medium-scale mining must also have rehabilitation clauses in their permits to reclaim the land, enforcing community development agreements, and promoting renewable energy use in our mining sector. True policy and regulation will ensure that every ounce of gold or gram of lithium mined in Ghana leaves with a positive green footprint. The world is transitioning. The use of fossil fuels is waning, and clean energy is rising. With this comes a surge in demand for critical minerals like lithium, graphite, nickel, and other rare earth minerals. Ghana is ready to play a central role. We're establishing policy, legal, and investment frameworks to explore and develop critical mineral reserves, build refining and battery manufacturing capacity, attract ethical long-term investors, promote local content and technology transfer. In this new global order, our mineral wealth is not just a national asset, but a strategic geopolitical resource. The Gold Board, a key plank in my administration strategy to reform the gold mining sector and ensure maximum benefits for Ghanaians from our gold resources, has taken off. In its short existence, it has sanitized the gold sector, ensuring maximum returns from our gold exports. Ghana's gold exports earned the country 2.7 billion. Ghana's gold exports through the PMMC and the Gold Board earned the country $2.7 billion between January and April. And this figure is expected to increase exponentially throughout the year. But the Gold Board is not only about exporting gold. It will soon roll out a track and trace system to ensure that Ghana's gold exports are procured from environmentally sustainable sources. The Gold Board will work to train artisanal and small-scale miners in responsible and sustainable mining practices. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, in collaboration with the Gold Board, is also soon to launch, in cooperation with the private sector, an ambitious project to reclaim 10,000 hectares of mined-out lands. The Gold Board will also be working towards attaining LBMA certification for Ghana's gold. Excellencies, the future of mining is not national, it is continental. The African Continental Free Trade Area provides us with an unparalleled opportunity to retain value within Africa, establish regional supply chains, create joint refining and research institutions, and strengthen intra-African investment flows. So let us move from competition to collaboration. Ghana is open to partnerships with Guinea on bauxite, with DRC on cobalt, with South Africa on platinum, and all willing nations on mutual beneficiation. For this to succeed, we need governance anchored in transparency and accountability, and my administration is committed to strengthening the Minerals Commission, digitizing licensing and monitoring, publishing mineral revenues and contracts, removing bottlenecks for responsible investors. We'll work to ensure that mining revenues benefit all Ghanaians, especially the host communities. Development must be visible, equitable, and lasting in our mining communities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, mining in motion is more than just a theme. It is a declaration that Africa's mineral wealth will no longer be a curse, but will be a blessing. That Ghana's gold will not enrich others while leaving our people in poverty. And that this summit will chart a new path of value, sustainability, and dignity. I therefore call on all present, governments, investors, miners, regulators, and communities to rise to this challenge. Let us lead not just in production, but also in innovation, responsibility, and shared prosperity.
The government of Ghana has been instrumental in the success of the AfCFTA, in establishing a significant presence here in Ghana. The AfCFTA Secretariat is the largest African Union presence outside of Addis Ababa. I came here on the 15th of August 2020 to start the Secretariat. I was the only one in the Secretariat. Today, as we speak, we have 200 officials from across the African continent, representing different languages, different regions of our continent. And the reason we have been able to succeed in this mission is because of the support of the government of Ghana. As we speak, there are 49 state parties to the agreement establishing the AfCFTA, the fastest ratification of any instrument in the African Union, indeed, even under the Organization of African Unity. All of the protocols that our heads of states directed that we negotiate and conclude have been concluded. We are now transitioning to implementation mode to address Africa's pressing challenges. And the sustainability of the mining sector, indeed, is one of the challenges that we must confront. I therefore want to once again express my profound appreciation to the government and the people of Ghana for the successful implementation of the AfCFTA and the establishment of the Secretariat in 2020. As was noted, we meet at a time of profound global uncertainty, marked by shifting geo-economic tensions, the weaponization of trade policy, investment nationalism, industrial nationalism. Indeed, the continent of Africa must respond to these challenges. This imperative is reinforced by the ongoing strategic competition, which is increasingly defined by an approach that says me first, others last. Where does the African continent land in this environment? This dynamic makes it all the more urgent for Africa to deepen continental integration, to strengthen our resilience, and assert the economic interests of our continent more boldly on the global scale, especially as changes in global trade policy are looming, including the uncertainty of the future of AGOA. The operationalization of the AfCFTA offers the continent of Africa a transformative opportunity to drive industrial development, to drive sustainability, and to create a domestic market in Africa. The AfCFTA is a homegrown initiative rooted in Africa's own vision of prosperity. As a flagship project of Agenda 2063, the AfCFTA embodies our collective ambition to enhance intra-Africa trade, to ensure our own economic sustainability as a continent, and to see through the vision of our founding mothers and fathers when in May 1963, in the historic city of Addis Ababa, expressed a vision of a united Africa with an end to colonialism, and more importantly, a vision of economic integration. It is therefore befitting that the AfCFTA Secretariat is here in Ghana, a country that has always been at the vanguard of leadership in Africa. Key to the success of this agenda in this changing global environment will be how our continent leverages on digital technologies for sustainability, for inclusion, for poverty eradication, and to create jobs for millions and millions of young Africans. The Protocol on Digital Trade of the AfCFTA, which our heads of states adopted in February, is now in implementation mode. It is the first of its kind around the world and addresses very important aspects of Africa's digital economy, including payments, interoperable payment systems, movement of data, the commercialization of data, and the right to move data throughout the continent. Therefore, the gathering here today, over the next few days, is timely and indeed is consistent with the ambition of the Protocol on Digital Trade of the AfCFTA. The theme that I have been invited to address, I quote, "Gold without borders, tokenization and the next chapter in African trade," unquote, is indeed, as I mentioned earlier, timely. The Protocol on Digital Trade provides the legal framework for us to explore the sustainability of the mining sector, leveraging on digital technologies. Gold tokenization offers a practical demonstration for operationalization of the AfCFTA's digital framework, including the reduction of transaction costs, boosting intra-Africa trade in the mineral sector, improving traceability, and enhancing financial inclusion. This not only reinforces the AfCFTA's commitment to value addition, processing of our minerals here on our continent, and the rules-based multilateral trading system born in Africa, but also serves as an example of the forward-looking, inclusive innovation and inclusive innovation that all of us must champion throughout our continent. And so as we gather here today, permit me to state the obvious. We are not gathering to elaborate and discuss and dialogue on gold. It is about redefining the future of trade, particularly in the digital age, and it is about redefining the role of the mining sector and gold in particular in Africa's digital economy. The AfCFTA Secretariat is indeed proud to be associated with such a forward-looking event. This event, I am sure, will build on the momentum of the recently successful Digital Trade Forum, which was hosted by the President of Zambia and the AfCFTA Secretariat in May 2025. The forum reaffirmed Africa's digital potential. The political commitment is there, the investor commitment is there, and of course, our young people who are at the cutting edge of Africa's digital economy are ever ready to seize the opportunities that the digital economy presents to all of us. The International Financial Corporation estimates that by the year 2035, Africa's digital economy will be in excess of over 712 billion United States dollars, contributing over 6% to Africa's GDP. This is an immense opportunity that all of us must take advantage of. Our continent is a major gold producer, contributing over 1,000 tons in 2023, which is more than 20% of global output. This represents a significant source of wealth, with a large share coming from artisanal and small-scale mining, particularly here, our home in Ghana. However, despite this, up to 40% of Africa's gold remains undeclared, with an estimated $30 billion smuggled annually. This deprives governments of vital resources, of vital revenue, and undermines ethical sourcing and limits miners' access to finance. Therefore, tokenization offers a way to transform the structure of the gold industry. By representing physical gold digitally on secure blockchain platforms, tokenization enables traceable, near-instant cross-border trade in a secure manner. Globally, this model is gaining traction, with over $2 billion in tokenized gold assets as of 2024 alone, signaling rising investor confidence. Tokenization also presents the opportunity for us, as I mentioned earlier, to reduce costs, to ensure efficiency, and to expand on our ambition of financial inclusion. Now, if I may turn to the instruments of trade that can be offered by the AfCFTA as we transition the gold sector to align with our digital economy. The AfCFTA has local content rules, or rules of origin as they are called in trade speak. This shall enable the industrialization of the sector and shall ensure value addition and processing takes place on the African continent. The utilization of rules of origin to advance industrial development of the mining sector is a low-hanging fruit in our view, which we must take advantage of. There are various initiatives around our continent which indicate that more than ever, the continent of Africa is ready to take advantage of the digital technologies as they relate to the mining sector. Here in Ghana, the new Ghana Gold Board is introducing blockchain-based tracking to formalize production and reduce and eliminate smuggling. We see similar initiatives in South Africa, in the Central African Republic, across our continent, where digital technologies are deployed to advance on our ambition of industrial development, job creation, and competitiveness. These initiatives signal a decisive move beyond extractive models towards a future where Africa's gold is traceable, digitally tradable, and offers opportunities at inclusion. As we look to the future, the promise of gold tokenization is clear, but there are risks that we have to be aware of. To realize its full potential, we must proceed with due diligence, foresight, and collective action. Here's the good news. We are not starting from scratch as a continent. With the AfCFTA, we already have in place, in practice, a transformative agenda for Africa's trade landscape, which provides the foundational legal tools that are required to advance on this ambition. I therefore urge all of us gathered here to consider very carefully all of the trade instruments and the trade tools that are available at our disposal as we seek to champion the sustainability of the mining sector, and gold in particular, in this era of Africa's digital economy. With 49 members of the African Union having ratified the agreement establishing the AfCFTA, a market of 1.4 billion people, with a combined GDP of 3.4 trillion United States dollars, the AfCFTA offers an opportunity to scale not just industrial output in the mining sector, but also to scale productivity, investments, and offers legal certainty and regulatory clarity that I am sure will attract more investment. Let me conclude, Your Excellencies and Your Majesty, on this note. I believe we stand at a defining moment for our continent. As we navigate the turbulent global economic environment that all of us find ourselves in, on the face of it, which may appear as a challenge, actually is an opportunity for our continent. It is time that our continent redoubles, that we redouble our efforts at trade liberalization, investment liberalization, and creating opportunities when we process our own minerals, value addition of our own minerals, and attract investment in the mining, in the processing of our mining. While progress is visible, the challenges also remain. Therefore, our resolve to shape a future where Africa's resources uplift all of its people, and again I wish to emphasize, leveraging on digital technologies, this shall require that we become even more pragmatic in our actions and move collectively as a continent. Africa's gold has long been a symbol of wealth. Now, through innovation, collaboration, and leveraging on technologies, we have an opportunity to turn this vision into inclusive growth opportunities for all. Tokenization presents that opportunity to build a secure, transparent, and integrated mining sector where value is created, retained, and shared here on our continent. Allow me, as I close, to once again express my immense appreciation to the government and the people of Ghana, and also to His Majesty the King, for the vision of convening us here to elaborate on the future of gold and the mining sector in particular. It is through Ghana's proactive and unwavering commitment and support of the AfCFTA that we are able today to proudly claim that not only do we have the world's largest free trade area, but also we are at the cutting edge of digital innovation through the Protocol on Digital Trade. We also claim with pride that for the very first time around the world, we have a protocol on women and youth in trade, which does not exist anywhere else, which is able to ensure that we deliver on the promise and the aspiration of inclusivity, creating opportunities for women-owned and youth-owned businesses, and that we move beyond aspirations, which are, of course, important, but that we codify into legally binding commitments these aspirations of creating opportunities for small, medium enterprises that are owned by women and young people.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
me didn't tum. Mr. Friendly Calico, just call me cockroach.
Now, Mr. Friendly once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain was key to double the action. Maybe this sasso spray. Mr. Friendly sasso quell. Yeah, go to my sasso.
Come tum preko.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Yo fam, it's that time again. Finals. Oh yeah. Go TV, let's go. Go TV, this is too big. The Premier League, La Liga, Champions League, FA Cup, Europa, and more. Finals. Stay connected to catch all the biggest football finals with your best football friend. Go TV, love it.
Digital alone doesn't solve problems.